All right, live. So we're two guys, T and D. I'm Lionel,
And I'm Harry.
and we're kind of playing a little catch up. Brigade Con does this thing every year to raise money for charity, and this year they're doing RPG a day, and every day there's a question that they're asking community members to stream and post online. And so we're like 21 days behind. So we're gonna shotgun style it today
Let's log it out.
and kind of see what we can come up with. So let's just dive right in, Harry. Question one: real dice, dice app, diceless. How do you prefer to roll?
Well, for me, I'm going to be honest. I'm probably going to get some hate. I've never actually rolled any dice while playing an RPG or a tabletop game. I've always done it online.
That is just sin. And if
Yeah,
I could reach you, I would slap you right now.
it's heresy. It's heresy. But I live in the middle of nowhere, so I have to go online if I want to play. Really.
Right, yeah, I'm pretty remote myself, and my preference always is to touch. I love to touch those dice. I love to hear them as they roll. But
Yeah.
when you play online, um, I've really come around to using dice apps.
Yeah.
And like when I run a game, I leave it up to the players. You got to work on a level of trust. So if they want to use one of the dice apps, that's fine. If they want to roll their own dice, that's fine too.
Yeah. My go-to is Roll20 because you can put character sheets in there as well.
Yeah.
And make macros.
Right on. So so I guess we're pretty open.
I'd love to roll some dice though.
Yeah. What you should do is just get some, just roll them.
I mean, I've got some like D6s and scatter die from Warhammer, but not any D20s.
Yeah. So for me, preference would be real dice, but I don't push that preference on anybody else.
Yeah.
I usually what another thing I do is I usually ask the guy that's running the game. If I'm a player in the game, I ask them what they want. Do they want me to use an app? Do they want me to use a roller? Do they want me to? Is it okay to roll real dice? That's what I go with.
All right. Number 2, best game session since August 2015.
Best game session. I have to say it's Mike Lachem's fiasco in the Silver Dragon Express. That was one of my first games ever that was streamed online, and the way he opened that one shot was just phenomenal. It blew my mind. That was probably my best, and I've played a lot of really good games with a lot of good players and game masters. But yeah, that's the one that stands out for me.
I kind of want to pick that one, but I didn't play in it. Now, for me, it was a game that I run for my my home group. It was just burning city under siege. They just run in, kill everything, which I wasn't expecting. And then have a dragon show up, have them obviously climb on top of the dragon, do barrel rolls, dodge everything, and then have a monk fall to his death, and it was great. I loved every hour of that session. So good.
Oh yeah, you gotta love the ones when there's that heroic character death.
Yeah,
for sure.
And something interesting and quite cool happened to actually replace his character. There was an NPC guard in the town who survived just everything, was just killing everything by himself. So we made him into the player's next character because he was just such a badass.
That's awesome. So question 3 is character moment you are proudest of.
I've only played as a player about three games, totaling about 7 sessions. But I have to say a paladin that I played just had that sort of epic paladin moment where he just rallies all these troops around him, heals people that are down, and just executes an orc that was a bad guy. And it just classic paladin moment that I like. But I can't really say much more than that. So I'm a GM at heart.
Yeah. I guess my My character moment I'm most proud of is I was playing a an elven bard, and we were fighting this black dragon, and it wasn't going well. And I had it in my mind we're all gonna die. So if I'm gonna die, I'm dying heroically. So he just runs at this thing, makes this phenomenal skill check. I think I rolled a nat 20 on it, and it allows me to climb up onto this dragon's back, and I shimmy up to its head, and all I have is this rapier, and I just drive it down as this dragon's trying to throw me off. And little did I know that it was almost dead, and I just happened to get the killing blow. That was probably the moment when I was pretty proud. I was like, wow, because my guy was not a fighter. So I
Yeah.
would say that was pretty decent moment.
Killing a dragon's always the best thing in a game. I think it's
Right,
so much
especially when
fun.
you have to earn it, for sure,
Yep.
man.
Yep. All right. The most impressive thing another characters did. It's question four. It's gonna have to be that monk riding the dragon again for me. It's the most memorable session I've had.
Yeah, does sound pretty badass. Most impressive thing that a did. Jeez, played in so many games with so many great players that have done so many awesome things. I'll probably end up drawing on something fairly new, fairly recent. Um, oh yeah, I know what it is. It's actually a game I just played earlier this week. So playing with this guy named Dan, he has this barbarian that's kind of skinned as this knight,
Mm.
and we're fighting. It's an unwinnable fight. Uh, so there's this boss, and he's not doing well, and he just tackles the guy. He was up on this balcony, tackles the guy, and uses him to cushion his fall as they fall to the ground. That was
Mm.
probably one of the most impressive moments that another character's done.
Oh,
I
that's
mean, I
good.
was like epic. That was pretty cool. Um, what story does your group tell about your character?
um, I mean, never really got to that stage for it when I was playing that a character developed enough. I usually only played as a player in one shots, but I really can't. I guess my stars of that number character, which I played as a GM because they were meant to survive and someone else was meant to GM, but they died. But anyway, he was just known as the guy who never left the ship. I just stayed on the ship getting drunk the entire time, and that was pretty much the character.
Really good.
Didn't get a
uh,
chance to play him.
what story does my group tell about my character? Geez, I've played so many characters I wouldn't even know. Probably the longest running one that I've had was this young, like Greenhorn Knight in a Game of Thrones type game, and he started off very naive. And I remember because we were doing a post game chat, and the other players I was playing with just said how he went from this very naive, very noble, you only fight with honor thing to this use any means necessary
Yeah.
to accomplish the goal, but still maintain a certain degree of honor. So yeah, I think that's probably how they would have described that kind of that. It was really nice. I remember the game master saying that he really just of all the characters, he loved the evolution that my character had as he kind of grew through this. It was like 30. It was a 30 session campaign, and it was pretty intense at times. But yeah,
All right. The most amazing thing a game group did for their community. I think it's talking to things about like absolute tabletop, that kind of thing. They've certainly done a lot. I mean, we wouldn't be
right,
a thing if they didn't exist and make a Facebook group.
right
Like
on.
all of those wonderful games that people do, like Mike the Piper, he puts out all those Ironhead Chronicles. That's with people from Absolute Tabletop, and
Yeah, right on. And I think the welcoming of Facebook to just really opens the door to a lot of
yeah,
people. I know last night in the game that Tim was running in Dragon Grin, um, someone popped into the live stream, and she's like, "What are you guys doing?" And it was just that welcoming of, Matt and James and everyone else that was in there, just really helping to explain to this person that had joined in and didn't know what a tabletop role playing game was or what
Oh,
Dungeons and
really?
Dragons was, and really she was just really blown away by it. So I think that's what it is. It's that welcomingness
Yeah.
that I've seen.
I was pretty asleep at that point.
Yeah. It was towards the end. She actually called it like an audio. She was like, it's like listening to an audio book. Uh,
Well, those guys are that good. Their improv is just amazing.
right,
Um,
right. What aspect of the RPG has had the biggest effect on you?
um, I think the just the the improv and interactions between just people for a few hours, just like just help me with like anxiety and like shyness, that kind of thing, which I don't really have anymore. It's like brought me out of the shell, that kind of thing. It's so from that kind of standpoint, RPGs amazing.
Right. For me, it's kind of similar to you. It's the interaction,
Mm.
but it's like watching a player just kind of breathe life into their character. Like, and because it's fresh in my mind, James last night had a point where his character Rudy, Tim had prompted the players, what are you thinking right now? And he went into this little like internal monologue, and it was phenomenal. And you could just see, and just to watch James, I mean, he was there. He was Rudy for that minute or minute and a half or so,
Yeah,
and that was phenomenal. So that's what I think when I think of RPGs. I that really gives me an impact. It keeps me playing in the game for sure.
awesome. Right, number 8, hardcover, softcover, digital. What's your preference?
For me, it's got to be the physical book. I love it. I mean, hard or soft cover, I don't really think that really
Yeah.
matters to me as much. Most everything I have digital as well. But I think I commented on a another YouTuber's response to this question, and I said I just like that feel. I like that you flip right to where you got to go in the book, and um, I just don't necessarily get that same feel with the digital for sure.
Yeah. I use like a mixture. I have like I have all the hard covers for the for D&D, but I tend to only use the monster manual and the dungeon master's guide, and then use a PDF for the player's handbook, because that's the one I tend to be looking at the most, because it's got pretty much all the rules in. So having the ability to control F and just flick to stuff is really handy. And I'm quite lazy. I can't be bothered to put notes in the book, so I know where everything is. It's just Control F.
Right, cool. Um, so beyond the game, what's involved in an ideal session?
Um, I think having the players come prepared with something that they want to do. Doesn't have to be like for their characters to do. Um, and just having a break is important in an ideal session. Like halfway through, just have a quick, grab a beer, get some snacks, come back, just to really you can get that sort of fatigue of just having to come up with ideas all the time. That things get a bit stale. You just need a break. So
Yeah, I agree, Harry, for sure. Because one of the advantages of like when you have people around a physical table playing is guys, you're doing that all the time. You're taking those little breaks. And I think sometimes when you're playing in the virtual world, um, if you don't put those breaks in there, it can be really, it can stagnate people. I'm thinking, wow, I'm really thirsty right now. I really wish we could take a break, but do I want to get up and leave? Um, so for me, for an ideal session, it's probably exactly that. It's striking that balance between, you know, uh, taking those breaks, making sure everyone's on the same page as you start the session, so that everybody's having fun.
Yeah.
That's what I think. When I think
Oh,
ideal is like everybody should be having fun.
yeah. And also taking breaks on a cliffhanger is like the best thing you can do
Yeah,
because they come back quickly. They grab their
yeah,
drinks
because
and come back.
you want to know what the hell is going to happen to
Yeah.
them for sure. Yeah, that's a great way. If you could, as a GM, definitely if you can say, "Oh, this is a great place to take a break." Yeah.
Okay. Number 10, the largest in-game surprise you've experienced.
Oh, have you ever you probably haven't played a Game of Thrones type styled game, like
Nope.
an intrigue game. I mean, there it is right there. That the whole game is basically a surprise. Um, but I'm trying to think of the exact moment in that really long Game of Thrones game campaign I played in. Um, Myself and the other players, we had made this decision, and we outed these bad guys and in front of the king, and so they run away. One of them gets captured, executed, and what we find out later on, and this is much later in the game,
Hmm.
the one that was executed actually has come back as this like undead thing, this undead champion, and it's just like I remember my character's reaction was like, "The you're dead." Oh, you here? And he just like whacks at him with his sword. But it was just, yeah, that was a pretty good. Um, Definitely, I did not see that coming.
For me, it was my first ever session of tabletop role-playing games. We played Dark Heresy. I was a psyker, and we came into the first piece of combat. Had no idea really how to play the game properly, and I decided to use a fear AOE fear power, and it just blew me away what it actually ended up doing. Reading like through the power again, you think, oh, hold on a second, this affects everyone, not just the enemies. So I feared half of my team. I feared the enemy. I feared the allies that were helping us, which then shot at the enemy, blew them up, set them on fire, which then set fire to two of our team, who then promptly almost died and spent the next few weeks in hospital. And that just surprised the hell out of me. What one thing could just end up happening just with a few rolls of the dice.
Yeah, yeah, that's what you bring up. That's a good point. Um, when a lot of people will uh, migrate over from playing like computer games like MMOs and those sorts of role playing games,
Mm.
where when you cast those kinds of area effect things, it doesn't affect your allies, and so they kind of get used to that. That well, my allies will just be safe, and yeah, that's a good one. So, question 11: which gamer most affected the way you play? That's a big one.
That is a huge one. There are so many that have like really sort of helped me out. I guess the first one I stumbled on was Barker when I was planning our group's first ever D&D session, and just looking through all of his Be a Better Game Master videos just helped me out to no end. Um, but I think he's the one I'd definitely say had the largest effect on me.
Right. Um, I guess for me, I guess what really got me thinking at role playing games a little bit differently was there's this guy out there called Esper the Bard. And I watched some of his videos and I was like, wow, I just love the way this guy like pulls in detail and kind of breathes life into these characters, and not just what they're doing, but maybe what they're feeling as they're going through. And then, I mean, obviously, I'll just kind of piggyback on, it's watching the Matt Clicks, the Barker, the Kierneys, Mike Lisham, and many others, Marquise. They've all really influenced and helped to kind of develop my play.
All right. Number 12. What game is your group most likely to play next, and why?
Well, right now, my physical group, the one that I get together with every other Friday, we're playing Dresden File. That's a game I'm running with them. And then we're going back to Dungeons and Dragons 5e. So the next game we're going to play is D&D 5e.
My group's currently on Stars Without Number. Enjoying that quite a lot actually at the moment. So it'll be a while before we switch back, but we're thinking of going back to Dark Heresy now that we've got a bit more experience. So we can actually, you know, use the rule set to its fullest. I appreciate the complexity a bit more.
Right. Yeah, definitely. I would encourage you to do that. And I just realized there's a why. There's a second part to that question.
Yeah.
So why? Yeah.
Why? I just want to roll on those crit tables again.
Yes. Yeah. Warhammer has an awesome set of crit tables. The why for us is we actually took a break from a campaign we were running for the 5e so that I could run a mini campaign through Dresden Files. So I'm really anxious to pick up where we kind of left off. It was almost like a cliffhanger. We had just kind of defeated some bad guys and really just kind of opened the door to really what we were trying to accomplish. So yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to that. So, what makes a successful campaign for you, Harry?
This is gonna be a long one. I think not when you set out starting it in your session zero. You need to not only make characters at the same time with all the players there, but you need to like just talk about what you want to happen in that campaign. What the kind of themes you want to look at, because then you're all on the same page and you all know what you want to do. Especially if the kind of games I run, which are sort of semi sandbox with a little bit of shoving in certain directions. So knowing exactly what the party wants, I can throw them those plot hooks, those adventures that they can do and actually want to do them rather than just slogging through it for XP. And also being surprised at the end as to what happens, because I'm not going to know how things are going to end. I have a vague idea, but I want to be surprised as much as they want to be surprised. So I can
Right.
plan for something, but I still want to be surprised.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't stress enough the importance of a session zero. I mean, it's amazing how many players, unless they're really exposed to the session zero, they're just like, especially, and I find this more with the older school players. They just show up with their character and they start playing.
Mm.
That's like an old school thinking. So it's really kind of for me. So yeah, I think a successful campaign starts with a good session zero where you don't just make your characters, but you talk about all that other stuff too. What do you want to accomplish? And then I think the other thing is fun. Regardless of all the other stuff, is everybody having fun?
Yeah.
And so that's like that's the biggest thing for me, the fun factor. As long as everybody's having fun, it's all good.
Yeah. I mean, I learned the how important session zero is through experience. Like my first sort of D&D campaign, it wasn't really a campaign. We did a one shot, which I found a free one online and thought, that looks fun, let's run it. And then when they survived it, they liked their characters and wanted to continue, but I had sort of no idea where to go with it. So it was sort of, I was struggling to come up with ideas. It was sort of falling over itself. I had to make a whole map and everything. I wasn't expecting that. And then it just sort of went nowhere. There wasn't really any plot, wasn't any sort of things the characters wanted to do. So we just decided to end it there and start with a session zero after watching like Adam Kobar and things like that, saying how important it was. So make mistakes, and that's how you learn. All right. Number 14. Your dream team of people you used to game with.
I still game with them. So
Yeah, same here.
team. Geez, I have several people that I still game with. Dan Schmel, Nicholas Dawson, Lloyd Collins, Mike Lashem, Marquis Hardis. Just the list goes on and on. That's my dream team of people, and I still game with them. I have gamed
Yeah.
with them.
I've only ever gamed with one set of people. But next week, Sunday, uh,
That's the day.
around this time, I'm going to be gaming with Mike and Marquise and Chad and Matt. So hopefully, I say hopefully, it's going to be a good time.
Yeah.
And it's going to be great fun.
All right, cool. So before we go on to the next question, let's take a
Yep.
quick little break.
Yep, sure.
All right, I think we're on 15 now, right?
Um, yep,
We're
and
trucking
my,
through the month of August.
I've migrated from tea to beer, but
That's all right.
drink
Um,
responsibly, kids.
Definitely. Always have a designated dice roller. Your best source of inspiration for role playing games?
Um,
Everything? I mean, real life, books, media,
I mean,
songs.
I mean, watching other people's games is a really good source of inspiration. I mean, not so much like the content of their games, but just listening to their players, sort of some of the world behind the actual session. That just inspires the hell out of me, and I'll, make my own sort of thing off that. That TV, books, browsing like the fantasy section on DeviantArt, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Pictures, right? How often will you see a picture or see someone post a picture and say, "What's the story behind this?" Um, I've gotten into a lot of one shots because someone will post a picture, it'll catch my attention, and then I'll read what the game's going to be. And I'm like, wow, yes, I want to play that.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, that definitely will be is it definitely a source of inspiration for me. But for me, I'm like everything could
yeah.
be
I
potentially
can't pick one
inspiration.
thing.
Yeah, me either.
Okay. The historical person you'd like in your group, and what game?
Edgar Allan Poe. It's got to be Edgar Allan Poe.
Hmm.
I took this graduate course on Poe, and I learned so much about that tortured guy. And what kind of game would it be? Call of Cthulhu, all the way, all day. How about you, Harry?
Um, I'm gonna go with Shakespeare with
Oh,
um with a sort of rules light, very almost diceless D&D because I like how D&D plays, but I think just the stories he could come up with would be just fantastic.
that's a great one. Um, what fictional character would best fit in your group?
Ooh, I really don't know about this one. I read a lot of fantasy, and I can't imagine they'd be interested in playing tabletop role playing games. Maybe I've been watching some Legend of Korra recently.
Uh-huh.
The Avatar: Last Airbender successor, and there's a
Yep.
character Bolin in that. He seems pretty fun. I imagine he'd be quite cool to have at the table.
Now, is he the Earthbender,
Yeah, he's the
Bolin?
Earthbending brother. Yeah,
Yes. Yep. I can definitely see him fun around the table for sure. Oh, God, I'm really drawing a blank on this one. Um, yeah. For fun, I'd like to say Conan the Barbarian because I would just love to have him at the table.
yeah, that'd be pretty
You
cool.
just see the faces of the other players, but you know, Sherlock Holmes, I think would be a
Yeah,
great one because he would be able to, just bring that different element to the game. I like to play a lot of games that aren't just hack and slash. So yeah, I'm going to go with Sherlock Holmes on that one.
that's a good one. All right. What innovation could RPG groups benefit most from?
I think they're already benefiting from it, and that's like the internet. Things like Roll20, I
Yep.
think, and Fantasy Grounds. It just gives that medium that kind of puts everything in one place.
Mm.
It's unfortunate Roll20 doesn't really support a good video and chat, but you
Yeah,
can,
it's
at least for
interesting.
now, you can stream it through Google.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess I would say that's a great innovation, I think.
Yeah. I want to go for an amusing one. Sort of a that guy detector. So that guy who likes to power game has a sort of dark, brooding character that doesn't want to communicate, and they're not, you're not really sure why they're actually in the group because their character doesn't want to be there, that kind of thing. So you can just sort of
Yeah, the
not
guy that's
play with
always
them.
working against the party, always
Yeah.
being that guy that's just ruining everyone else's fun.
So yeah,
Yeah,
that guy
that would be
detector. So I have to play with them.
the minute they log on, they're kicked out. This guy is not. Well, I think probably the only way that we can possibly do that is like you had mentioned earlier, and we talked a little bit about is the session zero,
Session zero.
which
Yeah.
just stresses why that's so important. As you're kind of talking that thing through, you can be like, oh, this doesn't really sound. Hopefully they're saying this doesn't sound like a game I'm gonna want to be in.
Yeah. I'd
Um,
certainly bow out of a group if I thought this isn't going to be for me. I'd just bow out.
Yeah.
It'd be great.
I've only done that one time. I was in a game and I was probably like 45 minutes in, and I was probably would have bowed out sooner, but I was just struggling with, is this okay to do this? And it was just so bad. I'm like, I wasn't having fun, and it wasn't for me.
Yep.
Um, Here's a good one for you, Harry. Best way to learn a new game.
Um, I'm gonna go with session zero. Making those characters together, you learn a lot of the rules as you're making those characters. And also, what I tend to do is read the PDF or book before that session zero, and then actually teach other people how to play the game because that sort of really gets it in your brain. About the rules, and then everyone else gets to just listen and
Yeah.
not have to read it themselves.
For me, I think it's just diving in. Don't be
Yeah,
afraid. Just dive right in. Find a game, especially online. Find a game with someone running it that you want to try. That's new player friendly. And there's a lot of those kind of games out there. I myself run a few of those games, because then everyone knows that you're new, and there's that learning that's involved. And I think
exactly.
it's good. I'm a hands-on kind of learner, so I could read a book or whatever, but until I actually am playing it out and I start seeing it in practice, it just doesn't quite sink in as well for
Yeah.
me. But yeah, that's one of the ways. Just go for it. One shots are a great way to at least expose yourself to a game rather than running out there buying all these books and everything.
Yeah.
See what you can find out there and just give it a go.
Yeah. Get a quick start PDF if the game has it, and just go through that.
Right.
It's free. Just read
Right.
that, and if you love it, like the rule set, buy the actual book, run a game. Don't be afraid to run a game.
And a lot of systems do that. They go run a rules light or system light
Yep.
free download PDF.
I mean, yeah, the best way of learning a new game is just play it, run a game yourself. Don't be afraid. Just go for it. And
Yep.
you'll learn the rules, no problem. All right. The most challenging but rewarding system you've learned.
That's kind of a loaded question. Most challenging but rewarding system.
Yeah.
Pathfinder
Mm.
comes to mind. I like a lot about Pathfinder, but it's a number crunch. You get like 5 different numbers factored into one thing as you're doing it, and there's a lot. It's a very rules heavy game.
Mm.
But the setting for Pathfinder, I love. It's a great setting. Glorian. The Pantheon is great. So that is really good. But I mean, you really have to get past the number crunch. If you can do that, then I think you will have fun playing it. But I'm more of a rules light kind of guy.
Yeah, I'm leaning
So
towards that. I've only learned 2.5 systems, and the half being Dark Heresy, and D&D and Stars Dark Number are both pretty easy systems to learn. Dark Heresy is a bit more challenging, but
mm.
once you sort of get your head around the idea of the sort of percentile dice, like that sort of
What
rolling.
edition did you play, Jeff? You don't,
Um,
did you play the Fantasy Flight games?
yeah,
So you got the dice pool and stuff.
I think it might be in second.
Second, okay, yeah, that's a good addition.
Yeah, that's probably the most challenging. Although obviously being able to play in that setting is just a reward in itself. Because Warhammer Fantasy and 40k are just great settings.
Yeah, I think any system, just to kind of broaden it a bit, can be challenging, especially if you're not familiar with like the lore.
Mm.
Using your Dark Heresy, if you're not familiar with the lore, there can be kind of that feeling like you're fumbling around. Not, your in character stuff might be a little bit more challenge if you don't know those sorts of things. I know I'm speaking from my own personal experience, that can be challenging but rewarding. So rather than a very system specific answer,
Mm.
just setting itself can be, if you don't know it, but when you kind of pick it up, as you pick it up, it can make the game that much better.
Yeah, you need to spend a few hours trawling through wikis to learn how
Yeah,
to properly run a Warhammer game.
yeah. You gotta do some
Yeah,
homework for sure.
it's a sort of the theme and feel of that game is really different from pretty much anything. It's
Right.
I
Yeah, if it's a
mean,
dark, dreary kind of setting and system, and you come in with this, hey, all right, we're gonna have fun. Yeah, that kind of you seem out of place, and
yeah, I
that can
mean,
definitely
40k
impact.
is gothic, metal, dark, grim. I mean, they butcher entire planets because they just want to. Doesn't even have to be a reason.
Right.
And it's just, yeah, it's quite a serious game.
Yes, it is a good fun, but yeah, it's very serious. All right, funniest misinterpretation of a rule in your group.
Um, I don't think I've ever misinterpreted a rule that badly for it to be funny. It's more just like, oh, we'll change that for next time, that kind of thing. It's never been too bad. Although I did, although it's not, well, I guess it's sort of a tabletop RPG. It's more of a board game though. Talisman. I don't know if you heard of that.
Hmm.
We misinterpret the monk rules. so where you add another stat to your strength, and yeah, I misinterpreted some of that. So I was sort of one-shotting dragons with no contest, which
That's
I don't
not
think
funny.
was meant to
Not
happen.
funny for the dragons.
No, I even did it to the player at the end and won the game. I mean, the way that system works, if your strength is a certain amount over the enemy's strength, then you don't have to bother rolling a die because it's impossible for them to actually win. So I was
Yeah.
just auto winning. So something was
Yeah.
definitely wrong there. We found it funny at the end, but
Right. See, I can't think of a rule misinterpretation that was funny in and of itself. I think there was a laugh after, and it's kind of similar to that same thing in that mini campaign of Dresden File we're running. I don't know anything about Dresden File. I've never read any of the books.
mm,
Hadn't picked up the core book until someone said, "Hey, I got this core book," and I'm like, "I'll run that." And so I just kind of quickly read through it, and it's kind of got this clunky mechanic around spell use. So we had this one spellcaster in the group, and he was just wrecking everything. And then as we reread it, it's like, oh, wow, we were doing that wrong this whole time. He was like kind of like similar to the monk. He was just so OP'd that once we tweaked it to where more in line with the rule set, it brought him down kind of more level with the other players. So that was a nice little chuckle that we all kind of had. It's like, oh well, we're still having fun.
yeah. Oh, we've done it. We've caught up.
We did it.
That was
Cool. So now we just got to make sure we stay on top of the rest.
yep. Probably won't be able to do one every day, but next weekend.
Yeah, sounds
Meet
good.
up.
So thanks for anyone that will watch the video of us kind of just rambling on through 21 questions,
Yeah.
and feel free to comment on any one of those 21 questions yourself. What kind of experiences have you had in tabletop role playing? And for sure, give us a like and
Mm.
click the channel.
Yeah. Our
Thanks.
next video will probably be looking at an RPG of some form and running a game. So
Yep.
join the
I
Absolute
think
Tabletop Facebook and keep an eye out.
yes, very good. Yeah, go over, check out those guys, and join the.
I'll put a link down below.
Perfect.
How do I YouTube? All right. Yeah. Thanks for joining, and we'll see you again soon.